Hi, welcome to the How She Made It Summit, where we are talking about what it really takes to be a wealthy woman. I am your host, Tiffany Scott. I am the founder of You Me She Collective, where I help women connect with their own uniqueness and create their in-demand brand. I'm also a community builder and the founder of Sister Suppers, where we help women create community from within their homes through sisterhood. Today, I'm so excited. I have LaDawn Townsend with me. We met about 3 years ago, and LaDawn is just a firecracker. She is a girl that's on a mission and knows her power, and she is the founder of Voss Group, a revenue growth strategy firm that delivers proven solutions that stop the leakage eating away at your profit, time, and productivity. So LaDawn, thank you for fitting us into your busy schedule. You just got back from London, and I would love for you just to introduce yourself, share about your story, because you and I met 3 years ago. I think it was about 3 years ago, where you came to one of my branding workshops, and I feel like it was love at first sight. We just hit it off. So authentic and so real. And your journey over the last 3 years has just gone from strength to strength. It's super inspiring. So introduce yourself, share yourself, and whatever feels compelled to share, go for it.
I will. Thank you for having me, Tiffany. I've always looked at you as one of the women, when you think about your tribe, you want to run with the runners, right? You want to be you don't want to be the weakest wolf in the pack, right? And so you remind me of that saying, continue to howl and your pack will find you. I'm totally butchering it, but you know which quote I'm talking about, right? And when we met, I just felt like, I found a part of my tribe. This is awesome. So thank you for having me. My name's LaDawn Townsend. I am the CEO and Chief Revenue Growth Strategist at the Voss Group. And our company is a full service strategy firm, and we deliver solutions that stop the leakage that eats away at your profit, time, and productivity. And what that means, it's a mouthful, is we deep dive to find out where are the gaps that are holding your business back. It could be your operations, customer service, your sales, your marketing. And I love doing that. I've done that for 20 years as a fixer in corporate America, working with Fortune 100 companies in the banking and tech space. I know when I tell people that, they think, how could you work somewhere for 20 years? So I started when I was 7. Thank you for the compliment. And so I've done that, and I've had my own business for the past 3-4 years on the side of working a corporate job. And then about 90 days ago, I left my corporate job and have been extremely successful in my business. And so I'm really passionate about talking to women about really fulfilling, not just becoming wealthy, but really fulfilling what it is they feel they want to do, because I lived on the fence for so long. So I'm excited to share my story today with people. I'm a Los Angeles native. I live in Miami, Florida right now. Sort of similar to LA, just a lot more humidity. And I'm so excited and loving my life and business at this moment. So I'm excited to be here today.
Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing. What would you, I feel like there's a lot of women that are straddling between leaving corporate, becoming a business owner, entrepreneur, finding their purpose work, leaving corporate. Like it's not an easy road.
No.
Because there's somewhat some financial stability in being in corporate, and then when you take that leap over to the other side, there is a lot of flux and flow, and there's a lot of things that you need to learn and all those sorts of things. So can you just share some of the pros and cons between being in corporate and then building your job on the side, and then now recently you took the leap and things are just going gangbusters, and now being on the other side of like letting go of the corporate job and being a full-time entrepreneur?
Yeah. So I will say that I say this lovingly to your audience, that I was the woman on the other side of this. I was the woman that had tons of opt-ins and webinars and newsletters I received because I was so hungry to really define the life I wanted. And for me, my journey started way back 20 years ago. I come from entrepreneur parents. And so I never knew them to work a job. And I was the only one, that really went into that space, my brother and I. And it's so funny because my parents would tease me. They would say, you don't even need an alarm clock. Like 4:30 in the morning, I'm up. And so the business plan I have now is the same one I mapped out almost 20 years ago to do this service. And I share that because you probably have notebooks full of ideas and visions of what it would look like one day to have your own business. And the only thing separating that girl 20 years ago compared to the woman now was I finally found the confidence to step out and really know that my skills of what I have is needed in the world. So I know it's it's scary to think about that. But, as a mentor once says, you can either be scared or you can be rich. You can't be both. So in that theme, I'm going to talk to the ladies that, you're in a full-time job and your life is really nice, right? I was an executive for many, many years. I had the 6-figure salary. I worked from home. I got to travel. I had the expense account. I had all that. So I understand. And I thought that's what I wanted. And right before I met you, I went through a layoff where my bosses called me one day. It was November 7th, 2014. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning. And they said, we were just fired and we have to let the whole team go. And in that moment, I knew it was the answer I had been wanting. And so the next year, I went through everything that you shouldn't do as an entrepreneur because I was a really successful executive, but I was not a really successful business owner. And so I first was in a network marketing company. And I thought, well, let me get to the highest level of this company within the next year so I can prove to people I know how to grow a business. Forget the fact that I had worked with companies for over 20 years, was called into boardrooms to help make decisions on things that would take these multi-million and billion-dollar companies from one decision to the next. I totally put that on the back burner. And so I was spinning when we had first met. And then I finally decided, okay, look, I need to get the resources in order to learn how to build a business. And with that, I also, at the time, no one was responding to my resume. I got calls saying I was overqualified because now I'm in the job market with my 2 bosses that have at least 10, 15 years over me of experience, and we're all sort of going after the same jobs. So I share this because that year was painful. It was extremely painful because I needed to figure out what I was supposed to do. And for those that think, well, if that happens to me, and I wish that never happens to anyone, but we live in an economy where that happens here domestically in the States and abroad, where companies, in order to make their bottom line, that you're an expense. Yeah. So I know you're working sick. I know you're working on vacation. I know you're working on call. I know you're giving your all to your bosses. And what that is, it's really the fear that you need to continue to have that provision from that job, right? Because let's face it, we're not all like saving the world here, right? Okay, so if there was a job I had and I'm saving the world, that would be a little bit different. But we go to work to provide the lifestyle that we want. And unfortunately, we're not even really living the lifestyle that we want. Maybe 1 week, 2 week vacation a year. You get up when it's dark. You come home when it's dark. You don't see your kids. I mean, is that really the life you want? And I'm sharing this not to offend anyone whatsoever, but that was me. And when I went through that year of no callbacks on the resume or people telling me I'm overqualified, I even had people call me and say, we just wondered why you would apply for this position. Wow. And that just really showed me that people are disconnected with their reality, that could be them one day. So I buckled in and said, what skill set do I have that can bring the resources I need to invest in my business? And that was the moment I became a CEO. So I was in California at the time and I said, well, my skill set can bring in money, but I don't know how to market that in a business, but I did know how to market that to employers. So on a faith and a whim and a little bit of savings, I moved to Austin, Texas, because I heard that was the next big bang. And within a week I had got a job and was able to move up and work with one of the top tech companies there. And what I did over the next almost 2 years is I invested in my business. I got clear on what do I do? What do I charge? Who is my ideal client? What is my emotion about money and my lack of thinking about money? I invested and dug in, and it was a lonely time because I worked 40, 50 hours a week. Then after work, before work, on weekends, weekends I worked in my business, right? And so I know that that doesn't sound fun, but on the other side of it is I was able to leave my job about 90 days ago because I had did the work. Now, when I left my job, it didn't look anything like how I thought it was going to. I thought I would have 6 months savings and like a line of clients to work with me. I had none of that, but I knew in my gut and in my spirit that it was time. January, I had a high month in sales. February, we increased sales. This month, we'll probably double that. And so the biggest thing for me, and I remember when I talked with a mentor and they said, what do you want in order to leave your job? I said, yes, the systems and structures and knowing what I charge, I want those things, but I don't want fear about the money anymore. I don't want fear about how am I going to make the money? How am I going to get medical insurance? As if we can't find a broker to go get medical insurance through. Like when you're working in corporate for so long, you're addicted to the paycheck, I like to say. I mean, it was over 20 years, 1st and 15th. It was always there, right? And so I said, I don't want to be fearful of that anymore. Because think of it this way, if you're making 6 figures, that represents the percentage of earnings you're giving that company, of you're making that company. So if they pay you 100, even 200,000 a year, and let's be honest, that's not much money. You know, it's not. As a single woman, I don't know how to do it. You know, as a married person, I don't know how people do it. But that means at minimum, you're making them $1 million. So when the light bulb came on for me and I said, they're calling me into the room, asking for my strategy to help them. If I can do that, then I'm good enough to be called into a room that I make. And I did a post, I think I did a post or a blog post about this, about never ask permission to get into the room that you created. Yeah. Your skill set creates that. And so all of this over the past few years, I had to really come to grips with. I really had to get serious about my business. I really had to figure out what streams of income could I bring into my business. And it wasn't, it wasn't a time of luxury. I invested everything. The budget was tight because I needed to work with this coach or invest in this program or create a website or get some photos or whatever it was. But it was all worth it because I'm here today. And when you get into your own business, I would love to say that you can spend days at the beach and at local coffee shops. I can't do that. It is busy from sunup to sundown. However, I have found structure in my life as much as possible. And the reward of a long day of being exhausted in your business beats any day I had in corporate America.
Yeah. So many great points in there. And I just want to highlight one that I really, really resonated with. There's many, but there's one that I really, really, really resonated with is that point of like, if you're working in corporate, you have skills and abilities that you're bringing to that business.
Yeah.
Don't discard them. Know that you can bring those skills and abilities into your own business as well. And, when I was first starting my business, I invested heavily into coaching. And I'll never forget, my mentor said to me, Tiffany, you were the marketing and creative director for Speedo. Use that to your advantage. And I was just like, whatever, like not a big deal, and he would not let up. Like he was just like, this is, this gives you credibility. Don't disregard what you created there. And it took me a long time to like actually share that from a place of authority, to really own what I'd done with that company, because I was on that kind of mind. And I think a lot of women do this, is like, imposter syndrome. Like it wasn't such a big deal. And I had a team around me and it wasn't just me, but you speak to anyone that's still there at Speedo, they'll vouch for, the difference I made within that company. And I had to step into that and I had to really own that. Now there were other things within my career that I, continue to start to own as well. But I think that's such a big part. Like we quickly disregard the skills and abilities that we brought to a company when we go and step into our own and don't own it.
Oh, spot on. And I think it was actually when I first started wanting to be an entrepreneur, I was in a totally different path. I had 3 different coaches over the course of a year ask me, what do you do as a career? And I told them, and they said, why don't you do that? Because I didn't think strategy was sexy. I didn't think people needed process improvement and training for their employees and figuring out how to price their services. I didn't think people needed that. So I was trying to go with the trend. And this is what happens. It happened for me, and maybe some other women can resonate, where you see this entire movement, right, of coaching and consultants coming out, and all the websites look really pretty and everyone is an expert and it just feels good. It feels magical. I was like, well, I want that. And so I did that for a long time and got paid nothing. And it wasn't because that wasn't a good coaching option. It was because it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So I had to really listen to, what is it for me that I can do? What skills do I have that people need? And then how do I turn that into a way that's fun? I mean, what I do is very structured. It's very corporate. It's pretty black and white, but my team and I make it in a way to where we engage differently with our customers. We do provide the service that they need. The branding, which I'm redoing, it's fun. It tells the personality. So it is possible to do that. But you're so right. Don't leave your skills on the table. I ask people, what's your reason for wanting to be an entrepreneur and leave your job? Right? So what's your why? If your why is you want to impact people's lives, sometimes the road to get there is with the skill set that you have.
Yes.
So, I have a friend, she's an incredible mindset coach. I mean, like, nails it. And she's also a doctor, like she has a doctorate. So she's found a way to blend her passion and her skill, of which she has a degree and practice into this beautiful business, right? And so that's really the key. It reminds me of Ashton Kutcher, and a lot of people know him as an actor. He's a very savvy businessman.
Yeah.
Extremely.
Yeah.
And I saw him a few months ago. He was being interviewed by the Congress in the U.S. And it was interesting because he came there to talk about a company he has that not a lot of people know about, but he's hired some of the best IT smart wizard people to fight sex trafficking on the black market.
Wow.
And so the CIA and FBI, the FBI went to him and said, look, we know these really horrible guys. We don't have a way to find them, but we heard you do. So he was able to then partner with them because of the company he created off of being an actor, right? So his skill that brought him into the market to make money was acting. He then funneled that and started some of the best restaurants in Beverly Hills. Then he turned and invested into tech companies. Then he created this company. So people may see him as an actor, but he has done so much more. My point is, what is your fastest way to cash? Because sometimes when we're thinking about our goals and our passion and our business, we forget that it is really money that will help you get there. And everyone has different feelings about money. But it hurts my soul when I see women who aren't serious about making money in their business. When you get clear on what your money goal is, you will then have the creativity and the direction for everything else. So if you say to yourself, well, it's not about the money for me, that's wonderful. But what about your family? What about your community? What about the next person you can help? What if by you being a 7-figure businesswoman, you then inspire someone else to see it? If all you need is 100,000, go donate the other 900,000. But it's about the money to set that goal because it opens more opportunities. And when we're not really focused on having a profitable business, we are truly not going to be in service to our community, because your community needs to see you being profitable because you set the reality of what's possible for them.
100%. Oh my gosh. Amen to that. That was just so well said. I love it. So well said. And I think sometimes we get stuck in, to your point, we need to make money in a certain way. But, what I hear from you is that you knew the job that you were in was serving the business that you were creating. And so when you can get into that purpose, in that mindset of, like, if you're in a job right now, or maybe you're already an entrepreneur and things aren't going the way that they want you to do, don't be afraid to go and get a part-time job or a job to support your business, because you already know what your vision is. You know where the areas of growth need to be. And sometimes to get out of scarcity mode or being worried about money, we can bring in other streams of income to support us in our businesses. And this was something that I, even just recently really had to tap into, because I was so focused on creating abundance from within my business because I wanted to be, I want to be the example for other women that they can create the business and they're allowed to create a lot of money. And, to your point, then you can give it to your community and you can give back and you can be the example, all those things, right? I was so focused on that I forgot that there are other streams of income that I could develop to bring in money. And I think there's T.R. Vecker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talks about 7 streams of income. And so now I'm fixated on getting into real estate investment. And I'm so lit up and so inspired about it, but also, learning, taking the time to learn about it as well. So your business is, if you're aligning your business with your purpose work, beautiful. And just know that it doesn't have to be just that one thing. If it's another job, use that as an inspiration. And even if you're in a job that you don't love, maybe go and find another job that you do love that's going to support the business that you're going to create. Whatever it is to make you feel wealthy, make you feel abundant, because it's harder to create wealth from a place of scarcity and can I just pay the bills and what it is. And then the other thing I want to really highlight that you said is that, if money isn't important to you, great. But money, the world that we live in, creating wealth creates wealth, and we get to support and nurture. And to Ashton Kutcher's point, he was an actor. I don't know if he still acts, but as an actor, he is using that money for good. And so with that, you need to have a why, right? Like what you were saying, you've got to have a why I believe that's bigger than you, that's going to get you up out of bed every single day for those hard days as an entrepreneur, to keep on going. Because if it's just to make 6 figures and prove to yourself that you can do it, or if it's just to I don't know, maybe buy a house, that's great, but that's only going to sustain you for a certain amount of time.
Right.
But you can tap into your bigger why and the service that you want to be and the way that you want to show up and the difference that you want to make. That's going to keep you going for years and years and years. And that makes you in a job for years as you continue to build your business as well.
Yeah. No, that's so true. And I think people need to they need to get clear. I'll never use the word realistic as to what is the money goal for, right? So for so long, I was like, I want to make 50K a month and this and that. And okay, that's great. But then you got to really, the strategist in me is kicking in to say, okay, do you really have a business structure that can do that? Because the same energy you do to make 500 or 5K is the same as 50K. It's just really duplicating your efforts. And so you have to ask yourself, where is that money coming? Because the money will come when you're ready to receive it, because money is like a lover. Money wants to be loved. It wants to be taken care of. It doesn't want to be abused. And so if your mindset is in a $500 mindset, and you can't really imagine 50K, you've got to work through that, right? So when you really imagine what you can do, you've got to lean into what does that look like for you and your business, and really be the CEO of your business. I love personal development and growth. You will always go through personal development. It's one thing to go through the personal development and not have a profitable business. So as you're going through personal development, how about you make some money at the same time? It's a totally different journey. It's a completely different journey. And so when you're walking in that and clear about your money goals, the money will come to you and the opportunities will come to you. But if you're not, then the opportunities will leave you. I met a celebrity hairstylist years ago in DC, and she shared a story I will never forget. So she sold hair extensions and things like that, and was very popular, great quality product. So Gail, Oprah's best friend Gail, had heard about her and said, hey, I'm interested in buying some of your product. So the woman quoted her, and Gail decided not to do business with her. Years later, she found out the reason why. Because her price was too low. So Gail thought, if your price is this low, your product is not quality, so I'll go someplace else. So you have to really understand that the people you're working with, if 1,200 or 12,000 is an issue, if you think that's an issue for you and it's going to be an issue for them, it's an issue for you first. Because if what you have is quality and you can provide results for someone, then charge your worth. And don't lose Gail. That could be your customer. And she said that was the best lesson she could have ever learned.
Yeah.
because she needed to really lean into what her value is. So if you're thinking about transitioning out of your job and really that's a goal for you, you're so right, Tiffany. Like, what is your why? And then you have to become like a fierce mama bear about your why.
Yeah.
And when you're fierce about it, you'll charge your worth. You'll do the things you need to. No one needs to convince you to slim down your social calendar in order to invest time in your business. I mean, I had to do that many times over, to where I didn't have time to hang out with my friends or sometimes to go on family vacations or trips. But I was really, because I knew I was sacrificing in the short term to have more in the long term. And that was really worth more for me. And then also, I just want to speak to the single ladies that are here, because sometimes I think when people think about a business and leaving jobs, there's a lot of focus on those that are in relationships or married. I will tell you that going on this journey and sacrificing what I did to really get clear on my business was really about getting clear on me and who I am as a woman and what I want and what do I stand for. And it's so interesting because whoever I would have been attracted to years ago has totally changed in the past year or two, because I really got clear on my own voice. So, and I know it's really challenging to have that desire in your heart and run the business at the same time. But I will tell you, just continue to focus on yourself and to really build that up, because one day you'll turn around and you'll really notice how ferocious you are and how sexy you are. And that is so attractive. So I just wanted to share that, because I know it's hard to really live that life. And if you're in a relationship and maybe you're making the shift and change and your partner is not getting you, continue to work through as you and to bring them alongside. And, people that are in relationships can talk about that. But this journey changes more than just what you think it'll be for your business. It changes you completely inside out.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. It is the biggest spiritual journey that I've ever been on.
Yeah.
That connection piece. And as you constantly work on your business, you're constantly working on yourself. There's no way around that. And I want to touch on that point around, if you want to make $50,000 a month, or you want to make $50,000 a year, whatever that number is for you, is give it a place to go. Delegate it, because money goes where money flows. And often, in the coaching arena, in the entrepreneur arena, we're often marketed to you can make 6 figures and you can make 7 figures and this is how you do it and blah, blah, blah. And we get caught up in the lights of it all, the shiny object syndrome, and well, they did it and it seemed really easy for them, so then I can do it, and then the road is not that easy. But for me, one of the biggest learning points was okay, yeah, I want to be a 7-figure business owner, but why? And so I want to be a 7-figure business owner. Why do I want to do that is one thing. And then the other thing is, okay, where am I right now? Right? Where am I right now? And then what is the journey to that? Because yes, you can make quantum leaps, but there's also that, they say it's about the journey, not the end, right? So delegate that money. So maybe a portion of that money is to go to, your bills. A portion of that money is to go into a mortgage. A portion of that money is to go to charity. A portion of that money is to go into vacation. Whatever it is, money needs to know where it's going to go. And then, like you said, what's the strategy? Work back from, okay, I need to get X amount of clients a month to make $10,000. I need to get X amount of clients to make, because I think those parts often get brushed over. I just want to make $20,000 a month. Great. And then the how. Now, the other part of that is strategy, yes, is important, and know that the how will continue to show up as you take the steps, because you don't always know how the heck you're going to have a 7-figure business owner, and that's when the overwhelm comes in of oh my God, can I really do that?
Yeah. No, I think that's so true. And what I would tell people is, as they're mapping out their plan, I know there's a lot of talk about ideal client. I think ideal client's going to come in at a point where it's really important. The first 2 things I would suggest to someone is, 1, what do you do that can provide results for someone? What can you do? Because that goes back to your why. If you're a CPA, but you want to become, I don't know, an abundance coach, okay, great. If your why is to have time freedom and to have time with your family or to travel, you got to look at and understand that the abundance coach route may take a little bit longer. But maybe if you were to use your CPA skills and leverage that, it'll get you to the money quicker to have the life that you want and then become whatever you want to become, right? So what can you do that provides results to someone? And number two is to go sell it.
Oh my
Before
God,
you
yes.
do anything else, before you create a website and get photos and a funnel and all this stuff, go sell what you have. Here's what happens when you have to sell it. An emotion comes up in you that you've got to deal with. It's an emotion of either fear or ferociousness. And even with the fear, it's going to tell you some things. And I share this because this is personally what I go through in order to do that. When we learn to go sell, it changes everything. Because as you know, social media and Facebook algorithms and online marketing, I have experts that do that. It's not always as easy as propping up a $5 a day ad. There is some science behind it, especially with the changes. So there is something really unique about selling to someone one-on-one, right? And that's really needed. And I've seen way too many entrepreneurs who go through programs and they don't know how to sell. And I've been in the situations myself. I've invested, I think, at least almost 6 figures in the past few years in my own personal, professional business development. And that was the one element I needed to learn more of, was how to sell. And in the past 90 days, I really leaned into, how do I sell? What do you say to someone? Because male, female, doesn't matter. It's not about the emotions and the feelings. Learn the skill, because your feelings will betray you. You need to set yourself apart as the expert in whatever you do to be able to learn how to talk to your prospect, to walk them through their fears, right? And that's done, shocking, in conversations with people, right? So if you're going to have your funnels, amazing, but learn how to have the dialogue, because you're going to need the dialogue. And I know that this goes against what a lot of people believe in online business coach. I mean, my business is online, but we work a lot face-to-face with people. At the end of the day, it's going to have to be some face-to-face connection that you make with people, because I think our industry, especially in the online space, is changing.
Oh yeah.
To where people want results. So if you have a skill that can give results to someone, set yourself apart as the expert and lead with being the expert. You're not there to believe whatever things that are holding your client back. You're there to help them through that. And you can only do that if you're the expert and you skill up, which you definitely need to do. And if there's a different way to do it, amazing. But I posted something last year. I said, what if Facebook ads went away? And I had friends flip out. They were like, don't even say that. That's like a dirty word. But think about it. If your sole stream of getting your clients is one path and that goes away, what happens to your income? So as CEOs, we have to think about really being wise. I heard a podcast a few years ago on some freebie I opted in for. And this woman, she was a business coach. And so she just thought she had one path. And when she sat down, she said she sat down one day and said, no, I'm a CEO. So the CEO needs to bring in money. And what she started doing was doing freelance work. She got hired to be a blogger somewhere. She found different streams of income, because I tell you, that could add up for your goal. So it's great to be able to make 6 figures in your business and 7 figures. A lot of the people in the space doing that also invest extremely heavily in advertising and their systems to get that. So if you want to have a 7-figure business, I've heard of people who spend 20, 30, 50,000 a month in advertising. So you have to understand the give and take with it all. And the conversation we're having with you here today is because Tiffany and I have been through it, right? We've been through the time and the money loss. And if you really want to transition out of your job, the best thing to do is sit down today and say, what do I do that can provide results? How do I go sell that? How do I sell it? What do I need to do? And face the fear of the things that you're pushing off in order to address the fear. And just go do it, because then everything will come up. I mean, I've had photo shoots where then I came up with a strategy for my business and the photos didn't match my business. So then I had to change it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So many yeses to all of that. And it's one of the 2 key things that I teach when I work with my clients is when I develop their unique brand, right, do that first and foremost, because there's a connection point that's never going to change, that's deep within you, right, that
Yeah.
can evolve with any business as you evolve and change. That first and foremost, connect with who you are before you go do your photos, before you go do your website, before you go do your logo. Because if you go do that first and you don't know who you are and you don't know how you want to show up, then that's kind of a waste of money. And the second thing is how to sell yourself, sell your services. And because we're so connected with what I do is who I am, rightly or wrongly, there's so much fear that comes up about that.
Yeah.
And then the other point that you made that I really want to highlight is you don't need to build anything, just go and sell it first, because then you're going to know if people want it or not.
Right. Yes, that's so true. Oh my gosh, that's so true. I used to spend weeks and months on tweaking my website to then put it out in the world, and it didn't talk to my client whatsoever.
Yeah.
So just go and do that first. I think that's so smart.
Yeah, because there's so many courses on how to create courses and how to do Facebook ads and create your social media and blah blah blah. But if you don't know what you stand for and you don't know what you're actually selling and you're not even playing around and testing it first, then all that other stuff is a waste of time and money.
Yeah.
Eventually they're helpful and they'll be profitable, but those things take time as well. But that one-to-one, I call bosom to bosom connection, that's how I've grown my business.
Yes.
6
Me too.
Bosom to bosom, over and above. I have very limited online marketing, and it's nourishing because the people that I speak to, I know, I get them, right? And that's my community. That's my love fest. It's just, it feels good when I feel like I am touching all the different people in my community one way or another. And right, what if Facebook did go away? That's a really good thing to look at. It's possible. You can go back to bosom anytime.
Yeah, exactly. And, you have to, I'm all about having an international business. And of course, social media can be a tool to help us get there, but there's also something about connections with people. I just came back from being asked to speak at an entrepreneur workshop in London. It was a great event. We did 6 live strategy makeovers for businesses. And when I work very seriously. I'm about, where is your revenue goal and how can we get you there? So the plans I give for my clients is not cookie cutter. We really get into specific direction of what can be done in the next 90 days, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. Because here's the thing, I like to think it's my job to think bigger for my clients. So when they're down the road and the situation comes up or the opportunity, they can say, oh, LaDawn prepared me for this. Versus sometimes when we've been in positions to where we get there and we're like, why didn't my coach prepare me for this? Because now it feels so brand new, right? So you really have to understand where you are right now. That bosom to bosom is so key, because you'll be able to really take your business to the next level. You'll be able to connect. You'll be able to meet people internationally or outside of your hometown that can then give you opportunities. It's really just about putting yourself out there and getting out of obscurity and talking as the expert. I love Facebook Lives, but your Facebook Lives, your posts, or whatever you do needs to talk to you as being the expert. That is what's going to separate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, so much value in this. Thank you. I could speak to you for hours. So before we wrap up, you have a free gift to share. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
I do. I have 5 steps to becoming a woman on purpose, and I'm excited to share that with everyone. I believe Tiffany's going to put the link out. It's a 5-part audio series that I did. It's amazing. I'm excited about it. I hope it blesses you in your journey, and that way you can really move forward.
Oh, wonderful. And one last question. Who inspires you?
Oh, gosh. I think who really inspires me is myself at 8 years old. And I just thought about that because my younger self knew that this would be my life.
Oh.
And I just remember being young and knowing that would be it. But then over the course of being an adult, we forget about that. So I was just thinking about my life the other day when I was coming back from London. And I said, this is exactly what I knew my life would be. Why in the world didn't I believe it? So for now, that's it. But I'm sure tomorrow I might find a new inspiration. But I think it's really just when we believe in ourselves as we were when we were little children, that anything could be possible for us, and then just go do it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that. And I love you. Thank you so much for showing up. And I'm just in awe of you and your journey, and can't wait to continue being an observer and a witness and a friend and a girlfriend and a sister on that journey with you. Thank you.
Oh, me too. Thank you, honey.